The Kingdom of the Netherlands has collaborated with many developing countries across the world. The current Dutch policy for aid, trade and investment has three major pillars, which include eradicating extreme poverty in developing economies, promoting sustainable and inclusive growth, and enabling Dutch companies to succeed abroad. However, there's a transition underway where the Dutch government is focusing on increasing trade and investment rather than aid.
We've indeed been working for a long time together with the Kenyan government, the Netherlands and the Kenyan government. And that is continuing, but we're in a transition phase. Politics in the Netherlands have changed towards less development aid and more trade. We're developing a relationship that has always been there, but strengthening it on the trade side. So we're still implementing development programs in agriculture, in water, in human rights. But we're moving towards a stronger trade relationship, which should benefit Kenyan companies, Kenyan private sector, and therefore Kenyan development, as well as Dutch companies.
Kenya, in particular, in East Africa, is becoming an interesting market. And there are Dutch companies who feel we have to be here now, in the beginning, to set up a base and to start understanding the market and selling our products. Because in 5-10 years from now, this might be the #1 market for us.
It is on this backdrop that a delegation from the Dutch government and Dutch embassies in 12 countries visited Kenya to jointly learn and reflect on interventions in Kenya by looking at successes and failures from the food and nutrition security policy in the context of the aid to trade agenda.
I think that we're still struggling to have a common idea and vision how we should combine trade and aid. So I think that is why this learning journey is very important, to continue the discussion. Yeah, how do we view and how do we want to do it in practice?
Key on this learning journey was to visit farms which have brokered partnerships on entrepreneurial development at farmer level, adoption of innovative technologies, value addition across agricultural value chains, and promoting inclusiveness. The aid to trade transition involves forming effective partnerships for Kenyan, Dutch and other entrepreneurial investors in the agricultural sector. So what have farmers learned from engaging with the Dutch programs?
I've benefited substantially from the support from the Dutch SNV NGO in particular. I think I can say that it's been mainly from a technical perspective. What do I mean is mainly around understanding the whole feed process around the cows, the whole cow management process. To be able to improve productivity. As I mentioned earlier on, we struggle in this country with low productivity of, on average, as I say, this farm was operating at 12 litres average per cow in the year 2003, 2005, and we now double that to about 24 litres average per cow. So I've learnt a lot in terms of the techniques that are used. Also, I guess, exposure to technology and mechanization. As I mentioned, some of the equipment we have procured from the Netherlands, the feeder wagons, the silage machines, all those have contributed a lot to the improvement of the productivity. The other big thing that we've learned is on cow management, software. The Uniform Agri system, in particular, mentioned to me, has been a complete revolution for me on this farm. And without it, I think it would have been very, very difficult to understand the life cycle of the individual cows and where they are, because it's very important to understand the life cycle of the cow, to, in particular, work around the 1 calf per cow per year.
We were looking for a partner to get an outreach program, to get other farmers to grow canola for all the benefits that I, as a farmer, grow it. We want every farmer in Kenya to practice conservation agriculture, rotation crops, and we needed a partner, and SNV have been brilliant. They've understood the concept and we're delighted to be partnering with them.
It's not just about adoption of technologies, but ensuring that technologies adopted fit to purpose, are affordable, demand-driven and market-led.
Initially, the challenge we have been having with the smallholder is the logistics of reaching the smallholder, and that's why, as a business company, we were shying away from engaging the smallholder, yet they contribute a greater bulk of what is consumed locally. So with the partnership with the Hot Impact SNV program, which we are in now, they are able to bring on farmers on board, and then we have been riding on it. So if I can say, starting with the business case 1, where we did with the greenhouses production of tomatoes, and we passed over the technologies in management of tomatoes in the greenhouses. The uptake has been so well, and we're able to get good returns in business. So many people are coming in. So now when we are moving into this, again, moving more technologies in this business case 2, we've been seeing good uptakes in the first 3 trainings whereby many farmers come, and we are seeing people starting to adopt and getting more inquiries.
On the other hand, agribusinesses need to adopt an inclusive approach which helps smallholder farmers to strengthen and build their businesses, engage youth and women, while incorporating climate-smart solutions in farming. The Madrugada farm, located in Nakuru County, was one of the success stories.
What I love about the canola business case is that conservation agriculture has, in development, been something that has been preached, a bit like a religion. And then we found that conservation agriculture with smallholders, without the market system being in place, doesn't work. These big farmers, they saw an opportunity. But the problem was there was no market for canola, to a less extent no market for the peas that they needed as rotation crop. A normal farmer would say, okay, well, forget about it. These guys, they created that market. And at the end of the day, if conservation agriculture gets working, then you spread the risk. You spread the risk for farmers. That makes them more resilient and less prone to climatic shocks or marketing shocks. So this is climate-smart agriculture.
And the one idea is involving the large farmer who can take the risks and who are adopting the new ideas easily. And they are also they are in position that they will transfer the knowledge to other neighboring smallholder farmers also. This model, I think, this is a new idea for me, that involving the large farmer and then build on their experiences, go with this the smallholder farmers. That can be tried.
Despite this progress, every transition has its challenges. The Aid to Trade agenda is no exception.
We need to bring the Dutch agenda and the national agenda together. Not look only to the Dutch agenda, but try to bring it combine this BAF agenda in order to have a good product in the hand.
For me, the main issue has been access to finance on our programs, that we have all these beautiful programs, these innovations coming up. So after 2020, in the case of Ghana, when we exit our programs or we stop development cooperation, how are these technologies or innovations going to be scaled up? And we've seen that banks are not willing to lend to agribusinesses. So how are we going to scale up from here?
Inclusiveness always is a challenge. If you then work with large-scale farmers or medium-scale farmers, the guys who are not the poorest of the poor, that is contentious. So we have to make sure that we have a good theory of change and that we demonstrate that theory of change works in practice. We have to show how the poor also profit from such investments, because subsidizing the rich, that doesn't sell well. It has to be transformative, and we have to show that transformation.
There are also discussions centered around establishing innovative ways for farmers to access finance and helping farmers to improve their agronomic practices and their business skills. Lessons learned from this mission were a take-home for the participants. They also aim at informing policy development aligned to the Aid to Trade agenda.
We have a lot of similarities, but also we have some differences. The scale of production, I think that it's too high here. If you want to attract the private sector, you need to have the scale, economy of scales. If you want to call someone to set a processor unity, you need to have the scale. So this is our challenge in Mozambique, and maybe it's the issues which we will try to deal with in the future in order to attract the private sector in this Aid to Trade agenda.
Really, there's effort, especially with the market study, to show what is lacking here and what's available in the Dutch private sector. But I think what I would like to see is perhaps more exposure to the local companies to be able to see what's available, not just to read it in reports, but also to know which companies they can be able to work with, and most importantly, to even interact with the processes and develop confidence in the products before they begin to market them here.
Other key lessons from the learning journey include the group also came up with actionable ideas, which include as the trip wound up, it was evident that in years to come, a lot still needs to be done to fast-track implementation of policies such as the food and nutrition security one, which are geared towards trade and investment development.